Hello. Thank you to everybody who's been out here for our marathon session of authors today. I'm here with James Woosley. And I know that I say this, but really, James is one of my favorite people. But let me tell you why. James is the publisher for every single one of my books. James has also published his own book, The Entrepreneur's Kryptonite. We're going to talk about this just a little bit, but then we're really going to kind of go in depth into what James offers as a publisher, what he does, how he helps authors to go from idea into publication. So welcome, James. And while you're talking, I'm going to put the link to your book in the chat.
Great. Well, thank you, Amy, for once again having me on the show. And it's always good to connect with you and talk. We've got, books in the past, books in the future, hopefully. And it's just a lot of fun. And so you mentioned Conquer the Entrepreneur's Kryptonite. So that was my first book. That's what started all of this craziness. Is I just wanted to write a book on strategic planning. I wanted to grow my strategic planning practice and coaching and doing more of that. And instead it turned into, hey, can you help me with my book? So that snowballed into today. So that was in 2013. And today now I've helped publish or design more than 200, probably closer to 300 books now. And it's just a lot of fun helping people take this concept or this thing that they have in their head and get it out into the world in a professional manner, right? Because, the technology is there. Anybody, you take a Word document, you run it through some tools, and it can spit out a book with print on demand and everything. It doesn't mean it's right as far as the design and the functionality and the editing, all the things that go into it. So it's an honor to get to help people take their concept and bring it to fruition so that it can then go out there and spread ideas and help people and entertain people or whatever it might be.
And James, one of the things I'm really proud about in our relationship is I went to James in 2016. I didn't publish till 2017. It takes a little time to get a book out, which we've definitely talked a lot about ad nauseum today. But one of the key things is I was with James. I was like, I really want my book to be hardcover. So we went on this hardcover journey together. And so I would love for you to share a little bit about this kind of going from 2013. You're literally almost a decade and a half later. What has changed in the industry and what have you really noticed?
Yeah, it's wild. And in fact, I've got your first book right here, paperback, but we did do the hardcover as well. So what has changed in 13 years? I think, right now, the big thing is AI, right? So everybody's talking about AI, loving it, hating it, whatever. It's the best thing. It's the worst thing. It's a tool. I think there are people who are leaning too much into it to do the writing for them and just, magically spit out a book. If they don't even read through it and go through it and make those changes that AI hiccups on or whatever, then they're producing junk. And I'm not into producing junk. I think there's a place for AI and certainly in research, in idea generation, in editing and cleanup, as a first pass. I still like a human editor. I still think the human has to be involved in that process as much as possible. But AI is probably the big one. The other is just, the accessibility has grown more and more and more. In the old days, say the 80s, right? In this book publishing, self-publishing world, you'd have to have a print run of 5,000 copies and no Amazon outlets to sell books, right? No social media to sell books. So you're filling up your garage in your basement or somewhere. Your spouse is mad at you because the books are just piling up. The rats and roaches are gnawing at them because they're not selling. You don't know if it's going to sell them, and you have to buy that many books. So it was a huge effort, a huge investment. Now with print on demand, it is so much more accessible. And between 2013 and 2026 now, more and more people are interested in this process and going through it. AI is assisting that in some cases. But there's still a lot of AI slop, and there's still a lot of corners that are cut. And so what I do and the people that I work with, for the most part, are people that they want to have their book at the top tier in terms of quality from a self-publishing perspective. They want to do it themselves. They want to own their book, and that's great. But they bring somebody like me or an editor or a designer or an illustrator, whatever it might be that they need, to be a part of their team. They're still self-publishing. Self-publishing does not mean you did everything yourself, right? It's that you It's your content, you're crafting it, and then you're getting the right people to help you, quote unquote, build that house, right? You didn't drive every nail and screw and build that house yourself in most cases, but maybe you designed it. Maybe you had an architect and you told them what you wanted in that. Then you had a general contractor that came in and did the plumbing, the electrical, and the drywall, and all those things. Maybe you did some work, maybe you didn't do other work. It's still your house, and if you had a hand in creating it, even if it's at the end, you bought it and you decorated it, and it's your style. Great, that's your house, and just like it's your book, but it doesn't mean that you had to go through the pain of all the layout and typography, and all the little things that nobody notices unless they're bad.
And James, you bring up a great point about this general contractor concept, and you and I have had some great discussions about it. It really takes this general contractor who knows the right people to reach out to. So if James is like, hey, somebody needs an editor, he can call Jennifer. If somebody needs other assistance, James and I had talked about, I use AI as a virtual writing circle. It really spawns a lot from what we've done at one of the universities where I teach about the ethical use of AI, how to craft prompts in the right way, how to do follow-up prompting and these kinds of things. So and also using different AIs, and then AI for research, which is very different than AI for actual writing, right? So bringing these things together as, like you said, the electrical, the plumbing, the plastering, all the different things can be done by different people. They don't plaster anymore, they drywall. Sorry, my last house was built in the 30s, but I caught myself. You've got to find some really old people who still know how to plaster.
Yeah, those artisans are still out there somewhere, right?
yeah, I had some old plaster walls, so I actually still do know how to do some basic plaster repair. But just such an important point of what you need to do as a team in your book writing. And James is just such an expert at working and bringing these things together. And one of the other things that James and I have talked about a lot, and that's why I love to have him on the show, is because we do have this relationship in this kind of publisher, book author, but then James being an author himself, James having published so many books himself, to over 200, is the marketing is brutal. I created this show because I wanted to market books, and I wanted to market my books, but I want to market other people's books. And I'm going to do a shameless advertisement now for the show. If you want to donate to the show, all the donation money is to do stuff like keep the platform alive, keep the website alive, things like that. And the other thing is we have merch. I know some people come on the show and they're like, you know what, I really love just getting like a coffee mug, or I love giving a beer mug. James, it's you, so I'm going to pick the beer mug to be the thing that I'm going to share right now. It's a really nice shaker pint glass. I feel that represents you, like your little spirit animal here. So I'm going to share that. But it's really an opportunity to connect with the show. And this is 100% authors helping authors. I know authors are out there all the time getting hit up, bam, bam, bam. Come and present at my book thing, but pay $190 for it. I'm not charging anything. That's not my goal. My goal is to help authors share their authentic experience, to help you market, which helps me market. There is that symbiotic relationship, but my goal is not at all to fleece anybody. My goal is not to go out there and you say, okay, I want to do this, but I'm going to charge you $50 or $100 or whatever. The goal of 24 Authors in 12 Hours is to get the word out, and the power of authors helping authors, because your readers might like my book, my readers might like your book. I do genres, and so I do want to focus that next month. February 14th, Valentine's Day. It's going to be romance, romantasy, rom-com. It's going to be poetry. It is going to be all those sorts of things. I know I'm a man-hater, right? Like you guys who read my book, Horror Universe books, that's not who I am, and that's okay. It's Valentine's Day, and we're going to be celebrating that world. So if you are in that genre and you want to make a comment, if you want to DM me, let me know. This is really authors helping authors. And that's just such an important part as an author community. I want to turn it back over to you now, James. You've went on this journey where you kind of started off in this side, and now you've built this into a full-time business, This is now your livelihood, what you're doing. Can you share a little bit about that, especially because we are talking about, goals today. We're talking about how you get there. There's a little bit of fear there, and you wrote the book, The Entrepreneur's Kryptonite, which is kind of about overcoming that. So if you could just kind of, I put a lot there, just kind of share.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a journey, right? I mean, the Free Agent Press, the name itself, came from a community that I was part of, Free Agent Academy, and it's where I kind of grew this free agent mindset of like, even if I work for somebody, I'm going to think of myself as an independent contractor, as somebody who's there to service that company, right? My boss is my customer, my customers are my customers, all those kind of things. And it's freeing. It's like, and it's not 100% rugged individualism and I'm on my own. I'm going to take responsibility and control for my life and for my finances and all the things that I do. I am going to then cooperate and collaborate with all these others to do amazing things. So it's not about being on an island. It's about a mindset that is entrepreneurial, and wanting to forge forward, but you create allies and friends and things along the way. That's the definition for me of like professionalism. When I talk about professionalism, and you were talking about, how I have this network of people. Well, yeah, I mean, I have interacted with hundreds and hundreds of people through the decade plus that I've been doing this. I know tons of editors and other designers, and sometimes I'm not the right designer, so I can pass that potential client, onto somebody else, and vice versa. So you need that professional network that you build and grow, because none of us are in this together. It's even like you were talking about the sponsorship or the stuff to help keep the show going. It's like, if I'm talking with another author, I'm not enemies with that person, right? People don't buy just one book in their entire life, and I've got to win that person over so they buy my book. Book buyers buy lots of books. So yeah, buy my book today, buy their book tomorrow, or however the people do it. It's really not a competition in my mind. It's about connecting with your audience, serving your audience, connecting with co-creators, with other professionals in the industry that know things. I mean, I'm not an expert on the marketing side of things. I love the design and the process and the operational side of things, but marketing, I mean, I know the basics and I can do some stuff, but it's not my strongest area. So I am reaching out and connecting with other people that I can then take my authors and say, hey, here, do this. I'm connecting pretty soon with a significant publisher to see how we can partner about giving full book distribution to my clients, right? Because when you think about it, I'm a ghost publisher. I help you be your own publisher. I'm not really a publisher in the sense that I'm giving out royalties and producing your book for you, and it goes out into the world, and then we both are making money off the sales, and hopefully we make lots and lots. But most books don't make lots and lots. Most books today, especially in this print on demand world, are an extension of people's business. So it's coaches, it's speakers, it's other professionals that are growing their business because they've connected with readers. They've developed authority. They've developed know, like, and trust, right? And one of my sayings is authority. The word authority starts with author, right? Author, ITY. And the ITY is I trust you. I trust you with my $10, $15. I trust you with the hours I might spend reading the book, that I've not wasted my time. And I can come away from that and disagree with the book, even not like the book. If it's done professionally and if it's with quality, I can still respect that author. If it's not professionally done, if it's thrown together, if it's AI slop, if it's whatever it might be that's really, really bad, right? Then it's junk. And now I'm not going to respect you. You're not going to have any authority in my mind. So that's what I do to set up my clients for success. Is I give them the highest quality book that I possibly can next to their readers, grows their business, and we have a lot of fun doing it.
And a really great point there about that trust, right? And part of the discussion I had earlier with Winsome Duncan is about making sure that you're advertising to the right audience. There are certain people your book was not meant for, and
Yeah.
and that's okay. I had a very controversial author on earlier for people who want to listen to her Natural Mystic, her book Body Count. This is not going to be something that everybody's comfortable with, right? Like this is going to be a book that you might look at this and be like, this is not a book that I'm comfortable with. And that's okay, because that's not the book that's meant for you. And that's why, like next month when I'm doing romances, right? Like, if that's not your genre, on the other hand, Halloween time, I was doing thrillers, chillers, everything bump in the night. And that's why I do try to break 24-hour authors and 12 hours into sort of genre focus as much as possible. Because generally, if you're looking at entrepreneurship kryptonite, if you're looking at negotiation books, if you're looking at overcoming adversity, whether it's physical adversity, so you're going to buy those smoothies to be physically healthier, like Alex was able to overcome MS, or if you're looking for that kind of spiritual mental health piece that Sheldon was just talking about really recognizing that I'm not in a good place and I have to get out of that dark place. But when you look at this kind of inspiration for this, we're looking for people mental, spiritual, physical. And what I love about authors is even if you are, or not even if you are, I think that's the wrong term, romance authors, horror authors, children's book authors, how cool that you had it together to write those books, right? Like, that's a scary thing to write a book. And you talk about overcoming that fear, overcoming the kryptonite, right? Let's talk about a little bit more of that, James, is how can somebody overcome that fear to even approach this, to become an author?
Yeah, I mean, it's a big thing for some people. It's just like some people get writer's block, right? And they sit down to write and then they can't. And there's strategies to get over that. And then there's people that they can write all day long, but they are never going to share it with anybody because they're too embarrassed by it, or they're too scared that they're going to be critiqued by it on it, whatever that might be, right? And I kind of had some of that at the end of my first book with Conquer the Entrepreneur's Kryptonite. It was like I got 6 months, I was 2.5 years into it, and I was like, I realized my book cannot help anybody if I don't finish it. If I don't get it, then put it out there. And yes, some people may not like it. Some people may not get into it. Most people are going to ignore it, right? Because a book on strategic planning for small businesses and for your life, yeah, most people aren't going to be interested in that. Strategic planning scares them away. But those that I could hook and that were into it, they got a lot out of the book. I had a lot of people that did enjoy the book, and it did change things in their lives. And I'm really proud of that. But if I hadn't pushed print, if I hadn't sent it out into the world, it could not have done that. Maybe they would have found other ways to do that. Maybe they wouldn't. That's for God and the universe and whatever to sort out how those things are going to happen for those people. I got to be a part of it for those people, for their lives. We're connected in that way. Even people that I didn't ever know that bought the book or read the book that changed their life, I may never have heard about that. That's one of the cool things too, I think, is in this social media world, reach out to your favorite authors, right? Most of us as authors are like, some of us are introverts and some of us aren't, but we're really, it's great to hear from people that say, I just want to let you know, I really enjoyed your book. Yeah. And I've developed some friendships with authors simply by doing that, by reaching out to them, and they're way more approachable than you think. If they're your hyper celebrities, it's going to be harder. But if it's just somebody that's written a book and maybe they're on TV occasionally or they're writing articles for newspapers, I guarantee 99% of them would love to get a thank you letter or a note that said, "Hey, I enjoyed your book. It helped me. It changed my life," whatever that might be. It is encouraging. And I think we need more encouragement out there in the world these days.
James, you bring up such an excellent point. I'm going to highlight another James. And so my second book, which was focused on Admiral James Trevitas, when I wrote that book, I reached out to him and said, I would like to write a book where you're this fictional character, and this is what I'd like to do with it. And he was super cool. He's like, absolutely, go for it. I wrote the book. He had some tweaks. We went back and forth. And then a funny thing here about James Woosley is I went to James. I gave him the book draft in after I'd worked it all through with Admiral Stravitas, James Stravitas, and he had come back, and then James Woosley here says, well, I'm not really sure about this name. I'm like, well, that's the name that Admiral Stravitas liked. He's like, well, that's the character's name then. And it definitely was this full circle. But I mean, Admiral Stravitas is somebody who's on Fox News, CNN News, like all these things. This is not somebody who I thought was going to respond and say, like, definitely use my materials. I'll do the forward for your book. Like, I was terrified, right? And but he did. He was gracious and kind and giving, and I would have never thought that. Like, and I will tell you, I cannot stop singing his praises. But there are a lot of authors out there. There are a lot of people out there who are just so gracious with their time. So, as James Woosley just said, please, like, go out there. Don't be afraid. And everyone has a book in them. I love that phrase, and I know that that's going to get more books out there. But also this point that we rise up by lifting other people up. There's one plug I want to do for AI that's kind of unusual, and I have found this. I helped a woman, and I do want to share the story while we're talking. Is one thing that AI can super be helpful for is with people with a disability, such as a learning disability. And I was able to help a woman who would have never been able on her own to write the book, but using AI and being able to ask the right prompts, but also putting in short, like, points about her own story and trying to articulate the struggles of what it was. And with this learning disability, she was able to write this book that was just very moving, because now she's actually using AI to share her own voice. And James, I'm seeing you nod if there's anything that you want to add to this kind
Yeah,
of concept.
yeah. I mean, again, AI is a tool, and there are certainly ethical and moral things about how they got their source material and all those kind of things, right? So putting that aside, just thinking about it's here, the Pandora's box is open, it's not going away, right? Um, there's some ways it could go away, but those would be pretty bad for the whole world. Um, but the AI is here. And so you make a great point that for somebody that has a disability, it might be empowering for them to be able to find the words and find how to express them. To me, that's no different than saying, somebody who is blind that has assistive technology that, now they used to have the thing where you could get a human, connect with a human and show your fridge and say, well, where's the ketchup or whatever if you were blind. Well, now AI can do that for that person. So there's great things that can happen there. Where I think we have to be careful is that we don't lean so far into it that we put it on automatic pilot. It's like, oh, it can just write all my emails for me. It can write my books for me. It can do everything for me, and I don't have to do anything. When your brain kind of turns to rot, and do you have any real sense of accomplishment if all you were was a prompt master? You can argue that, and everybody's going to draw their line on where the right place to use AI is. For me, I see myself as a writer. That's kind of part of my identity. I love words. I love putting them together. I love communicating ideas. Some people are not that way. And in the past, they might hire a ghostwriter to help them write their book. Is that cheating? Well, some people would say yes, but in other cases, that's no different than hiring somebody to build your house because you don't know how to build a house. They know how to write a book and you don't, but you have the core ideas and the message that you want to get out. So you find this person that you partner with and develop that book. You aren't hiring them just to write the book, and there's people that do that, but if you're doing it in my line, right, is there's nothing wrong with the ghostwriting, and I'm getting into ghostwriting myself for other people, and it's a really cool world because you're now taking that and expressing their concepts, their ideas that maybe they're not good with words, and you're opening up to another audience. And a book is simply a container of ideas, right? The same way that we have books and we have ebooks and we have audiobooks. There are YouTube videos and there's all kinds of mediums. There's newspapers and columns and magazines. All of these are just different mediums for ideas and content for us to share with each other. And sometimes we're strong in one area and we can leverage AI or other people to repurpose our content to go out into other areas so that it can reach other people. I don't speak any other languages. AI is going to assist a lot of people now. You push a couple of buttons and the book can be translated in Spanish or Portuguese or some remote language that nobody has ever even heard of. And now those people can experience those ideas. Is it going to be as good as a human translator? Absolutely not. Context gets missed, right? All kinds of levels of things get missed. But at a certain level, some ideas can be translated quickly, instantly, easily. And there you go. So it's just the world is out there. If you've got an idea and you want to get it out there, find a way. If you can write, write. right? And if you can't write, but you know that you have a book in you, well, then find the right partner. Is it a ghostwriter? Is it a coach? Is it somebody that can compile all this stuff that maybe you already have and turn it into a book? I've done that. So I did this book for Christina Odell. I'm giving a shout out to her because she's been so great to me. But I did this book for her, and she just had tons. I mean, it's got forms. It's a finance business textbook. I mean, it's great. But she had just had, it was kind of messy. What she had was raw material, and I just helped her craft it, and we improved the forms, and we made it something magical. That's the fun for me, is we take raw material and we refine it and hone it and make it sharp and pointed so that it lands somewhere and it makes a difference for somebody. That's what I love
And
doing.
James, I'm going to leave it. The comment you had before is you're going to make it something magical. I love that. We do have to wrap up. Our next speaker, Sparkle Lindsay, is getting ready. James, I really want to thank you for your time. And I also just want to say happy birthday to your granddaughter.
Oh, well, thank you. We had a birthday party today. So, and if anybody wants to connect, freeagentpress.com, or if you're interested, I've got a survey up for freeagentpress.com/mastermind. I'm launching a mastermind very, very soon. So I'd love to hear people's thoughts, feedback on it. You can fill out the form. I'll reach out and we can chat about it if you're interested.
And James, if you want to share that link with me, I'll also share it out to all the social media as well. Thank you so much and have
Awesome.
a fantastic evening.
Thank you. Enjoy.